What is up, guys? It's TimeForDillon back at it again with another programming tutorial for you guys. In today's video, we're gonna do lesson 2, learning Python using ChatGPT. In the last episode, what we did was we covered the basics of data types, talking about setting data types, numerical data types, string data types. It was super fun. We even did a couple examples at the end using our DEGENS to make the link between coding and blockchain. In today's tutorial, what we are going to do is we're going to continue off of that lesson, talking about some more data types, manipulating that data type, comparing data types, and then of course, even doing some conditional statements. So if this happens, do this. If DEGENS sends 20 ADA to this wallet, send them the NFT. So make sure you guys stay tuned until the end of this video so you don't miss out on how to become a DEGENS programmer. Now, first things first, if you guys haven't watched the first lesson, I'll go ahead and throw the link up right here, or you guys can just go on over to my YouTube, watch the first link. What we did was we finished this getting started tutorial, right? Memory and variables, text data, numerical data types, and then working with that data. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go a little bit deeper, talk about debugging, which we actually touched on the last episode, right? I'm gonna show you how to do it a little more in depth, and then standards and best practices. Luckily, Python, like I was highlighting in the last episode, really keeps you in the boundaries of writing code in a specific format. You have to abide by the spaces or the tabs. You have to remain consistent, and it gets you in the mindset of writing code in a nice structured format, nice and professional. That's how you need it. Your code needs to be readable. Then, of course, we're gonna be talking about inputs and outputs, more data types. Then we're gonna take a quiz, and I'm gonna actually give you guys a little sneak peek on what conditional statements are. So make sure you guys stay tuned until the end of this video. Now, like I said in the last video, I'm using Spider IDE, the integrated development environment. It's best suited for Mac, but if you guys are on Windows, you can use whatever IDE you want. It really doesn't matter. You can even code directly from the terminal or from the command line. So that's another cool thing about Python. Very lucrative. Now, really quick, I did want to talk about our Hello Blockchain script that we wrote last time. I did make a couple little typos because, I'm wearing sunglasses indoors, so it's really hard to see my screen. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but guys, gotta stay in the DEGENS mindset, you know what I mean? So I said 1 million, but I wrote 1.9 million, so I corrected that. And then we had a little error over here with, I had like text like that, but I deleted it. So I made it look better, and yeah, there you go. Boom, run it. There you go. The whale has 1 million ADA and the plebe has 10 ADA. So we are going to continue off of this in today's lesson. But first things first, we have to go back to solo learn and finish the next lesson. Now, I did quickly want to show you guys one program that I wrote for school. I'm in a programming paradigms class. Super cool. It teaches you which programming language to use for which situation, because we got Java, C++, C, C#, Python, JavaScript, HTML, so many programming languages, and they're all suited for different things. So in this particular class, I had to write a priority queue. Now, a priority queue is kind of like a regular queue. Things go in kind of like a line, you know what I mean? Person A comes in, then person B, then person C, and it's first in, first out. Well, a priority queue is a little bit different. You're able to set the priority based on a number. Now, where this would be useful is if you wanted to code an auction house. Now, if you want to code an auction house, the priority is going to be the amount of money someone is bidding, right? And the value would be like the name of the bidder. Now, in this instance, it's a very simple program where basically I have, set different instances of things to do. And of course, we got to keep it blockchain related. Buy NFTs, got to FUD the derivative NFT projects, maintain DEGENS relationships. Now, all of these things have different priority set, and you're able to change them based on these different functions and methods that I wrote in this class. Now, this is very beyond the scope of this lesson, but it's cool because eventually we're going to get here, people. And trust me, you're going to know exactly what every single line means, and you're going to know how to implement it yourself. So I'm super excited for you guys. If you stay tuned, you stay at it, you guys can learn how to code too. So let's run this, see what happens. Boom. Priority 0, value, buy NFTs. Priority 1, maintain DEGENS relationships. Priority 2, DCA into Cardano. Priority 3, FUD derivative NFT projects. And then priority 4 is to eat. Of course, the most important, gotta buy NFTs, gotta buy NFTs. But let's continue on with the lesson head on back over to Solo Learn. And just like last time, I'm just gonna fast forward through the lesson. If there's something worth noting or something that I think you might get hung up on. So I think at the end, what I will do is I'll go ahead and give you guys some extra examples, extra things to implement this stuff pertaining to blockchain. So I'll see you guys at the end. Let's get it. All right, guys, there we go. We just finished lesson 2. We went over quite a bit. We recovered some different data types. We talked about integers, which are whole numbers, negative numbers, positive numbers, just whole numbers. We talked about strings, which we already knew about. That is text data type. So any type of word, and it has to be surrounded by quotation marks or single quotes. And then we introduced a new data type, a float. A float is a decimal number. So any fractional number, rational number, 2.5, 2/5, anything like that, any fraction or decimal, that's going to be a float. Then we also talked about the standard way of writing your variable names. So for instance, instead of saying user name, one word, we'll do user underscore name. That's called snake case, and that's the standard issue of writing the variable types in Python. And then we also talked about input. So instead of just outputting information to the screen, outputting text, now we can take input. Very cool. So let's go over to Spider and see if we can implement some of the stuff that we learned. And as I promised, I'm going to show you guys how to do conditional statements. Even though we haven't covered it yet, where do you guys think we can learn about conditional statements? I know where. ChatGPT. So first things first, let's actually come into our program and fix some of these things. As you guys see, whale adder, I already taught you guys snake case, which is the standard way of writing the variables. If we were in Java, however, Java is a different programming language. Java, they like to write it like this. Like that. That's how they write it in Java. So instead of writing the underscore, it's just the first word is lowercase. Any additional word, you capitalize the first letter. But we're gonna leave it as snake case since we're in Python. And you also saw in this lesson 2, we did concatenation, which is this plus thing. Instead of just being able to have, you know, 2 variables printed out on 2 separate messages, we can concatenate or join the text together with that plus operator. Very cool. So I guess the only thing different this time is now we know about floats and we know about input. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of name 1, what we're going to do is we're going to put input. And same with name 2. Input. And then we're going to make some new variables. What are those variables called? Well, let's pretend that our whales and our plebe, let's pretend they are delegated to a stake pool on ADA, right? As you guys know, what happens? You receive passive rewards. Awesome. So let's go ahead and make a multiplier. Stake underscore multiplier equals, let's just pretend it's 1%. Let's just pretend 0.01. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we are going to multiply the whale adder and the plebe adder. We're going to add the stake rewards as if we're, you know, they staked for 1 month and now they're getting their stake rewards. Or you know what, let's pretend this stake multiplier, let's pretend this per epoch. Let's pretend, make it easier. So whale adder, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to say this multiply equal the stake multiplier. Boom. And let's see if we could do the same thing with the plebe adder. Boom. Times equal. Now times equal. We can either write it like that, times equal, or we could do equals plebe adder times stake multiplier. It's the same thing. It's just easier and less words to write the times equal. Or you could do plus equal, or you could do minus equal. It's the same thing. So pretty cool. Let's see. So let's run this code and see what happens. Now, if you guys run it, you're going to see what's going on. You don't really see anything. Well, this is because we didn't prompt the user with text to say something, right? We should probably include some text in there to say, hey, enter your name. So that's why the cursor's right here just blinking. What we could do is we could type in the name now and press enter. So we'll do whale, plebe, boom. And as you guys can see, bingo, bango. Now, as you guys see, we don't have any errors. Now, this is super important. In the lesson, it doesn't really break down errors, meaning the different types of errors. The only thing it covered was syntax errors. Now, what syntax errors are? Syntax error is like, for instance, if I forget to put that letter there and I forget to put the parenthesis. That's a syntax error, right? We run that, boom, invalid syntax, right? Because we forgot to put the letters and the symbols. Letters, symbols, words, that's syntax. Now, the way in which you organize those words and symbols in a pattern, that's called semantics. You can have no syntax and no semantics errors and your code will work. Except, as you guys see with our output, it's not doing what we want. Meaning it's not adding the stake rewards to the wallet address. Instead, what we did, we made a logical error. Now, what's a logical error? A logical error is a mistake in the logic behind the program. Now, in this one, we made the stake multiplier 0.01. Instead of it being 0.01, what it should be is 1.01, right? Boom, 1.01. And now if we run it this time, right? Come down here, whale, plebe. And now you guys can see stake rewards have been implemented. Now our whale has 1.01 million ADA and our plebe has 10.1 ADA. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're going to prompt the user to enter a name. Let's see. Print. Please enter your name. Boom. For wallet 1, and we'll do the same thing for wallet 2. Boom. Save it, run it. See, now we're getting prompted. That looks a lot better, don't you think? Whale, plebe, boom, and there we go. We're now getting our stuff output. So now, like I promised, I'm going to show you guys conditional statements. So the easiest conditional statement and the easiest way to learn, just go right over to ChatGPT. Conditional statements in Python. Boom. There you go. Super cool, right? And it even gives you, this is what I mean. You don't need to go to school anymore, people. You don't need to go to school anymore. ChatGPT is your professor. It is your mentor. It is your expert. Look at this. Exactly what you need to know. All about it. So let's read. Boom. In Python, conditional statements allow you to execute certain code blocks only if certain conditions are met. The two main conditional statements in Python are if and if else. If statement. The if statement is used to execute a block of code if a particular condition is true. The syntax is if, it's as follows. So we put if, then whatever the condition is, colon, then we press enter, and we can indent the block of code. Now look, this is super important. When you indent blocks of code, they need to remain consistent throughout the entire program. So you can either do 4 spaces or 1 tab, but then it needs to remain consistent throughout the entire program. Otherwise, you're gonna get errors, syntax errors. So here's an example. X equals 5. If X is greater than 5, print, boom. Now an if-else statement, similar to an if, except we're adding an additional condition. Basically, if this doesn't happen, we do the other thing, right? It's like A or B. It's either 2 options, that's it. If we do a regular if statement, it's only gonna execute 1 block of code if and only if that condition is met. So it depends which situation you wanna use which statements for. Some cases, you just wanna use an if. Other cases, you wanna use an if else, but it really just depends, it's up to you. And as we'll see as we get further on, there will be certain situations where there will be multiple conditions, multiple options based on one set of commands. And in other programming languages, There's things called switch statements. I think there's even switch statements here in Python, but we'll get to that point, guys. Don't worry. So if statement, we see how it works now. Let's go back. Let's try it here. So what do we want to do? Let's do this. Let's only output the name of the wallet that has more ADA. Let's do that. So how are we going to do that? If, see, look, I put the parentheses because I'm used to C++ and Java. C++ and Java, there are way more little minute, intricate, nuanced syntax that you need to use. For instance, with the names of variables, right? You actually have to tell the compiler what type of data type it is. It's pretty crazy. So instead of just putting a name and then equals and whatever data comes after will determine the data type, in other languages, you have to tell it int name equals int value, string name equals string value. You know what I mean? You have to tell it and you can't change them. Pretty crazy. Over here in Python, things are a lot easier, so we don't even need to put all that. We'll just put if whale adder is greater than plebe adder, boom, we'll print that. And let's see, how do we do it? Else we'll print this. Okay, let's do it. Save it, run it. Uh-oh. That's right, syntax error. See what I mean? As you guys will see, coding, it's the same. You're gonna write the code, you're gonna run it, you're gonna fix errors. Write the code, run the code, fix errors. Write the code, run the code, fix errors. Write the code, run the code, fix errors. Nobody is perfect. It's fake. You see it on TV, it doesn't happen like that. As a matter of fact, most of it is running, finding errors, and fixing the errors. You're gonna see. But that's part of the fun. That's part of programming. Boom. So whale, plebe. Boom. The whale has bump. Cool. There we go. So that is just really simple. Now you guys know how to use snake case. You know how to fix some logical errors, syntax errors, semantics errors. You guys know how to run conditional statements, if statements. You know about floats, right? We did some floats here. We did some multiplication. We manipulated data. We compared data. We took input. We put output. In the next lesson, we are going to do working with data, lesson 3. We're going to do data type checking, data conversion, fixing data types, comparison operations, logical operations, combining comparison and logical operations together. All of this will also include conditional statements. It's also going to cover a lot of the stuff we've already learned. We're just going to be building on top of that and continuing on down the road of learning Python using ChatGPT. Hang in tight because we're going to get to some fun stuff in the next lessons. Trust me, you guys are going to be DEGEN coder masters. That's all I have for you guys today. If you guys made it this far, you guys are awesome. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Drop a comment down below. If you guys get stuck, you need some additional help, hit me up. But really, just hit up ChatGPT. That is the ultimate help. Trust me, that will get you through any error you have. But you guys have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are. Dylan is out.